Tonight, budget concerns.
There is some good, but you have to look pretty deep, and it comes pretty much at the end of the budget speech before you see anything positive.
Vermilion-Lloydminster MLA Richard Starke speaks out on the Alberta budget and why he says it shortchanges residents in our region. Plus, opening its doors, the Synergy Credit Union hopes its new facility will be a hub for community gatherings.
In sports, riding the high. The Lloydminster Red Dogs have gotten off to a 3-0 start this season and look to keep the success going.
This is Newcap News with Nerman Esau.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. One man is dead and another is in custody following an incident on the Onion Lake First Nation. Police were called to a home Friday afternoon where an adult male was found in distress. He was airlifted to a Saskatoon hospital where he died from his injuries the next day. The victim's name is being withheld until next of kin have been notified. An autopsy is scheduled for Tuesday. Lewis Carson Pipe of Kahiwin, Alberta, has been charged with second-degree murder. The 40-year-old is scheduled to appear in court in Lloydminster tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. With the Alberta budget tabled on Thursday, Vermilion-Lloydminster MLA Richard Starke is speaking out on what locals can expect in the coming years. Among many concerns, he's fearful that the new budget will put the gap between urban and rural Alberta will only widen. Hannah Tita has more.
We have grave concerns about their ability to even relate and represent Albertans that live in the rural parts of the province.
MLA Richard Starke paints a bleak picture for Albertans over the next couple of years, especially those living in rural communities like the border city. He says under the new carbon tax levy, the rebates residents receive who fall in the low to middle income bracket won't even scratch the surface against the cost of fuel and heat. He says the tax is intended to change behavior. And while large centers like Edmonton and Calgary have LRT and transit options, small communities are left behind.
I'm sorry, there are vehicles that you need to operate in rural parts of the province where you have to haul your products to the market, and we have larger distances. The carbon tax is disproportionately unfair to rural Alberta. There's just no question about that.
Starke says another cause for concern is cuts to the agriculture sector, an industry we rely more on when oil prices fluctuate.
The Department of Agriculture, that ministry, has a cutback of $550 million, just a little under a third of its total budget. And a lot of that is based on, well, we really hope there won't be forest fires this year.
Amidst a budget that will take Alberta heavily into the red, Starke says there will be one benefit to some locals. A small business tax cut from 3% to 2%.
There is some good, but you have to look pretty deep, and it comes pretty much at the end of the budget speech before you see anything positive.
Hannah Tita, Newcap News.
After a few years of construction, the Synergy Credit Union officially has its new home. A grand opening was held this weekend.
We really wanted to create that awe when people come in. And then once they start to get through the building, they go, wow, this isn't just about the credit union. It's really about the community as a whole.
A steady flow of credit union members and non-members checked out the building Saturday. It took 3 years to build. While it was 16 months behind in construction, the project came in within budget. Now, some of the features include a waterfall, a public lunch area, and a community room for non-profit organizations to use for free.
You do your banking, but nowadays with online banking, it doesn't warrant you coming to the bank as often. But here, where they have an area for community to come and have meetings for nonprofit and just associate together, it's awesome.
It's big and it's nice and kind of what the community needed, I guess.
While the grand opening was held this weekend, the credit union was open for business last month. With the 4-H Expo right around the corner, members are preparing their steers and horses and building their skills for the show ring. From teaching showmanship to grooming and judging, the annual 4-H clinics wrapped up at the Lloyd Exhibition Grounds today.
Then you look down here and you want to have a good big eye on that horse with lots of width between its eyes.
Close to 100 members between the ages of 6 and 21 came out for the judging portion. They rotated through 6 stations, listening intently to the demonstrations and then putting their comparison skills to the test. Chairperson Marianne Carson says they try variations of species each year. This time they added alpacas.
It doesn't really matter what you judge, it's the whole idea of how to judge. As long as they get the idea of choosing one over the other and giving some kind of a reason, that's a start. So that's what we're looking for.
2 participants are hoping what they learned will help them place in the show.
I've learned like showmanship and like grooming and judging, and I can work on helping like judge at my dad, like pick out calves for 4-H and helping buy bulls and more, because I'll be better at judging.
The major regional event is set for the first weekend of June and will bring together more than 350 members to feature their projects.